I've spent 16 years hunting fraud. I've traced money through shell companies in the Caymans. I've unraveled Ponzi schemes worth hundreds of millions. I've sat across from CEOs and watched them sweat when I found the discrepancy they thought no one would catch. They call me the bloodhound at my firm. I always find it. I always find it. But I never expected to use those skills on my own husband. $50,000 wired from our joint savings to someone named Keisha Williams, his play sister. When I saw that transaction, I had two choices. I could scream, cry, confront him, demand answers. That's what he expected. That's what a normal wife would do. But I'm not normal. I'm a forensic accountant. And I know that the moment you tip off a fraud suspect, the evidence starts disappearing. So I didn't say a word. I made him dinner that night. I smiled. I kissed him goodnight. And then I opened a spreadsheet. What I found over the next 60 days didn't just end my marriage. It exposed a criminal operation spanning 3 states and 12 years. It put my husband in handcuffs. And it connected me with 2 other women he had destroyed. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning. Let me show you how a forensic accountant hunts. 6 months before I found that wire transfer, life was perfect. Or so I thought. It was a Sunday morning. Derek was in the kitchen making his signature French toast. The smell of cinnamon and vanilla filled our beautiful suburban home. 2 nice cars in the driveway, picture of success. "Baby, I was thinking about that trip to Turks and Caicos," he said, flipping a piece of toast. "Maybe for our anniversary?" I smiled at my husband. 7 years married, still made me breakfast on Sundays, still opened doors for me, still told me I was beautiful. "That sounds perfect, babe." I thought I had it all figured out. Good career, good husband, good life. I thought I was smarter than my mother. She didn't see my father's affair coming. She didn't know he'd hidden money for years. She was blindsided, walked away from a 15-year marriage with nothing but the clothes on her back and 2 kids to feed. Not me. I checked our accounts weekly. I knew where every dollar went. I was vigilant. Or so I thought. Monday morning, downtown Atlanta, 32nd floor of a glass tower. My office was covered in case files. Current project, a construction company suspected of embezzling $4.2 million over 5 years. The CFO thought he was clever, creating fake vendors, layering transactions through subsidiaries. He wasn't clever enough. My colleague James knocked on my door. "Nicole, how do you always know where to look?" I smiled. "Money leaves a trail, James. People think they're clever, hiding funds, creating fake vendors, layering transactions. But there's always a pattern. You just have to be patient enough to find it." Ironic, isn't it? I could find fraud in a Fortune 500 company, but I missed it in my own bedroom. Looking back, the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. Derek's investment consulting business never seemed to have actual clients, but he always had an explanation. It's relationship-based work, baby. It takes time to build. He was always on his phone, but when I asked, he'd say, "Just checking markets, you know how it is." His best friend Marcus came over a lot, hushed conversations in the backyard. Business stuff, boring, nothing you'd want to hear about. And Keisha, the play sister, who called at odd hours, who he'd known since forever, who needed money sometimes for emergencies. I asked about her once, just once. His face changed, just for a second, a flash of something I couldn't read. Then it was gone, replaced by that charming smile. "She's family, Nicole. I've known her since I was 10. She's going through a hard time. I'm just helping. Why are you acting jealous?" He flipped it on me, made me feel crazy for asking. Classic manipulation. I know that now, but at the time, I apologized. Me. I apologized for asking about a woman my husband was sending money to. That's how good he was. My mother warned me about him, right after we got engaged. We were sitting on her porch, drinking sweet tea, and she got real quiet. "Something about him is too smooth," she said. "Too perfect. Men like that, They're hiding something. I laughed it off, told her she was just being protective, told her not every man was like Daddy. She just nodded and sipped her tea. I hope you're right, baby. I really do. Mama's intuition. I should have listened. But I was in love, and love makes you blind to the things you don't want to see. It was a Tuesday, April 14th. Tax season had just ended. I was doing my monthly review of our accounts. Same thing I'd done every month for 7 years. Joint checking, joint savings, credit cards, investment accounts. I logged into each one, scanning the transactions. Everything looked normal. Mortgage payment, utilities, groceries, gas. Until I got to the savings account. $50,000, wire transfer, April 11th, 3 days ago. Recipient, Keisha Williams. Bank, First National, Houston, Texas. Reference, family support. $50,000. Our savings account, which had $73,000, now had $23,000. I stared at the screen, read it again, and again, hoping I was seeing it wrong, hoping there was some explanation. But the numbers don't lie. They never do. My first instinct was to call Derek. My hand was on the phone. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. But then something shifted. My training kicked in. I've seen this moment 100 times in my career. The moment when someone discovers fraud. The moment when emotion wants to take over. The moment that separates the people who get justice from the people who get played. Rule number 1 of fraud investigation: never alert the subject that you're investigating. The moment they know you're looking, evidence disappears, stories get coordinated, money moves, trails go cold. I've watched companies lose millions because someone confronted a suspect too early. I've seen victims get nothing because they tipped off the fraudster before building a case. I took a breath, then another, and I made a decision. I was not going to be my mother. Blindsided, devastated, left with nothing while the man who betrayed her drove off into the sunset. If my husband was betraying me, I was going to know exactly what I was dealing with before I said a single word. I opened a new folder on my computer, password protected, encrypted, labeled it Project Home, and I started documenting. That night, Derek came home at 7, same as always, kiss on the cheek. "How was your day, baby?" I smiled, the smile I'd perfected in interrogation rooms, the smile that said, "Everything is fine," when everything is falling apart. "Good, busy, tax season hangover." I feel you, I'm exhausted too. I watched him, really watched him, the way he checked his phone every few minutes, the way he avoided eye contact when he mentioned grabbing lunch with Marcus, the way his jaw tightened just slightly when his phone buzzed. Had he always done that, or was I just now seeing it? At dinner, I tested him, casually, like I was just making conversation. "Hey, did we have any big expenses this month? I saw the savings account was lower than I expected." I watched his face, studied it like a document full of discrepancies. A flicker, just a millisecond. His eyes shifted left. His hand paused halfway to his mouth. Then, smooth recovery. Like he'd practiced this. "Oh yeah, I moved some money into a CD. Better interest rate. Should have mentioned it. My bad, baby." A CD. That's what he said. A certificate of deposit. I nodded, smiled. "No problem. Just wanted to make sure we're on the same page." "Always, baby. Always." That night, after dinner, I went to my computer, logged into every bank we had accounts with, checked every investment platform. There was no CD, no certificate of deposit, no new account anywhere. That was lie number 1. I wrote it down. Date, time, exact words. By the end of this investigation, I would document 47 lies. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That first night, I lay in bed next to him, listening to him breathe. This man I'd shared a bed with for 7 years. This man I thought I knew. Who was he? What else was he hiding? And how deep did this go? I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at the ceiling, running numbers in my head, running scenarios, planning my next moves. The wife in me wanted to shake him awake, demand answers, scream and cry and ask why. But the forensic accountant in me knew better. The forensic accountant in me was already building a case. And when I build a case, I build it to win. The next morning, I called in a personal day. First one in 3 years. Derek thought I was getting a spa treatment. "You deserve it, baby. You work too hard." If only he knew. Instead of the spa, I was in my home office with the door locked, doing what I do best. Keisha Williams, Houston, Texas. Let's find out who you really are. First stop, social media. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. I searched every platform. No Keisha Williams in Houston matching the profile Derek described. No childhood photos with him. No mutual friends. No digital footprint at all. Interesting. Everyone's online these days. Everyone has some kind of presence, unless they're hiding. Second stop, public records. Texas has good online databases. Property records, voter registration, court filings. Keisha Williams, Houston, Texas. Nothing. No property records, no voter registration, no court records, no marriage licenses, no divorce decrees. It's like she doesn't exist. But the bank account exists. Someone opened it. Someone received $50,000 of my money. I dug deeper. The bank routing number traced to First National, Houston. But here's the thing about wire transfers. They leave a trail. Every transfer, every transaction, every movement of money creates a record somewhere. I have what I call professional resources, databases that normal people don't have access to, tools I use for my corporate investigations. I'd never used them for anything personal before, until now. By 3 p.m., I had it. The account receiving the money wasn't opened by Keisha Williams. It was opened by someone named Monique Davis. Keisha Williams was just an alias on the account, a fake name, a ghost. Monique Davis. Now that name had records, criminal records. Monique Davis, age 36, last known address, Memphis, Tennessee. Criminal history, 2015, check fraud, convicted, 2 years probation. 2017, identity theft, charges dropped. 2019, wire fraud, case dismissed when the witness recanted. I sat back in my chair. My hands were shaking. This wasn't some childhood friend going through hard times. This was a professional criminal, a woman with a pattern of financial crimes spanning years. And my husband had just sent her $50,000 of our money. But here's what really caught my attention. 2017, the identity theft case. Location, Houston, Texas. I pulled up the case details. The victim's name was Jasmine Ford. Why did that name feel familiar? I couldn't place it, but something in my gut told me to dig. I searched our records, old emails, saved documents, calendar entries, anything. And then I found it. 3 years ago, we went to a conference in Houston. Derek insisted on coming, said he wanted to support me. We stayed at the Marriott downtown. One afternoon, he went to grab coffee while I was in a session. When I came out, I found him in the lobby, talking to a woman. She was beautiful, professional, well-dressed. When he saw me, he ended the conversation quickly, introduced her as an old colleague from way back. They exchanged a few pleasantries and she left. That night, Derek was weird, distracted, kept checking his phone. I asked if everything was okay. "Fine, baby, just tired from the travel." I didn't think about it again. Until now. I'm organized, borderline obsessive about keeping records. I had a box of memorabilia from that conference, badge, welcome packet, programs. I found the box, pulled out the attendee list. Jasmine Ford was on it. She wasn't an old colleague. She was Derek Carter's ex-wife. My husband had been married before, and he never told me. I sat there for a long time, just staring at that name, Jasmine Ford, the woman my husband was married to before me, the woman he never mentioned, not once in 7 years. What else was he hiding? By Sunday night, my spreadsheet had grown. 23 entries, 23 pieces of a puzzle I was only beginning to understand. $50,000 wire transfer. Keisha Williams equals alias for Monique Davis. Monique Davis equals criminal record for fraud. Monique connected to Jasmine Ford case. Jasmine Ford equals Derek's previous wife, married 2014 to 2017. Marriage hidden from me. Derek's investment consulting equals no verifiable income. Marcus Thompson equals business partner, needs more research. 7 phone calls to Keisha in past month. Lie number 1, CD account. Lie number 2, known her since age 10. Monique is from Memphis. Derek claimed Keisha was from Chicago. The lies were stacking up. The discrepancies were multiplying. And I was only at the surface. I stared at the screen. My hands were steady now. The shock had passed. What remained was something colder, something sharper. I had 2 choices. Confront him now with what I knew, get half-truths, gaslighting, manipulation. Watch him spin some story about how it's all a misunderstanding, how I'm being paranoid, how I'm letting my job make me suspicious of everyone. Or keep digging. Find everything, build an airtight case, then strike when he has nowhere to run. I'm a forensic accountant. I don't do half measures. I don't accept partial explanations. When I investigate until there's nothing left to find. I picked up my phone, texted my best friend Drea. I need to talk, not on the phone, in person, tomorrow. Her response came immediately. Name the place, I'm there. Then I closed my laptop, went to the living room, sat next to my husband on the couch, watched him cheer for a touchdown like he didn't have a care in the world. Who's winning? I asked. Falcons, baby. Finally putting it together this season. I leaned against him, let him put his arm around me, played the role of the oblivious wife. Love you, baby, he said, eyes on the screen. Love you too. And I smiled, because he had no idea what was coming. No idea that the woman sitting next to him had already started building the case that would destroy his entire world. I was just getting started, and by the time I was done, Derek Carter would wish he'd never heard the name Nicole. End of Act 1. Drea looked at me across the table. Her coffee sat untouched, growing cold. Her face cycled through shock, anger, disbelief, then settled into something I recognized. The face of a lawyer who just realized she has a case. He was married before and never told you? That's not even the worst part. I slid my phone across the table. The spreadsheet, the criminal records, the timeline, all of it. Drea is my ride or die, has been since freshman year at Howard. We were roommates, study partners, bridesmaids at each other's weddings. She went through her own divorce 5 years ago, caught her husband with his secretary. Classic story, painful ending. But this was different, and she knew it. She scrolled through my evidence slowly, methodically, reading every line like the family law attorney she is. Nicole, she said finally, this isn't just infidelity. This looks like fraud. I know. She set the phone down, looked at me with those sharp eyes that had won her dozens of cases. What do you want to do? I've been thinking about that question all night, running scenarios, weighing options, playing out every possible move and countermove. I want to know everything before I make a move. I want to find out how much he's taken. I want to find his other victims. And I want to make sure when I burn his life down, there's nothing left standing. Drea smiled slowly. That smile I'd seen in courtrooms right before she destroyed a witness. That's my girl. What do you need from me? Legal guidance. I need to protect myself. Make sure nothing I find gets thrown out if this goes to court. Make sure I don't accidentally become an accomplice to whatever he's been doing. Done. What else? I need to find Jasmine Ford. His ex-wife? Why? Because if he did this to me, he probably did it to her first, and she might know things I don't. Drea nodded slowly. Build the pattern. Show it's not a one-time thing. Smart. I learned from watching you work. Girl, you're about to make me cry." She finally picked up her coffee, grimaced at the cold, and set it back down. "Okay, let's talk strategy." That afternoon, Drea walked me through everything I needed to do to protect myself. First, separate your assets, quietly. Open a new account at a different bank, one he doesn't know about. Start moving your money, your paychecks, your bonuses, everything that's solely yours. What about the joint accounts? Don't touch them yet. That tips him off. Let him think everything is normal, but stop contributing to them. Every dollar you make from now on goes into your private account. I nodded, already planning which bank to use, already calculating how much I could move without raising red flags. Second, document everything. Screenshots, downloads, timestamps. Every lie he tells, write it down. Every transaction you find, save it. Store it somewhere he can't access. Cloud drive with a new email he doesn't know about. Already done. Drea raised an eyebrow. Already? I started the night I found the wire transfer. That's my forensic accountant. She leaned forward. Third, and this is important, don't confront him until you're ready to leave. Once you show your hand, you lose the element of surprise. He'll start hiding things, moving money, creating alibis, coordinating stories with his accomplices. I know, I investigate people like him for a living. I know you know, but this is different. This is personal, and personal makes people do stupid things. She was right. I'd seen it happen. Smart people, rational people, completely losing their heads when it became personal, confronting too early, warning the target, destroying their own case. I wouldn't make that mistake. "Nicole, I have to ask." Drea's voice softened. "Are you okay? Like, emotionally? This is a lot." Was I okay? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I hadn't cried yet. Not once. Not when I found the wire transfer. Not when I discovered his previous marriage. Not when I realized the man I loved was a stranger. Maybe I was in shock. Maybe I was compartmentalizing. Maybe the forensic accountant in me had taken over completely, suppressing the wife, the woman, the human being who should be falling apart. "I'll fall apart later," I said finally. "Right now, I have work to do." Drea reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "When you're ready to fall apart, I'll be there to catch you. But until then, let's burn this man to the ground." Finding Jasmine Ford wasn't hard. LinkedIn made it easy. Marketing director at a tech company in Houston. Professional headshot, big smile, impressive resume. I stared at her picture for a long time. She looked happy, put together, successful. The kind of woman who has her life figured out. What had Derek done to her? How had he left her? Did she know about me? I couldn't just cold call her. "Hi, I'm married to your ex-husband and I think he's a criminal." Doesn't exactly invite conversation. I needed an approach, something that would make her want to talk to me. I found her Facebook. Her posts were mostly professional, industry articles, conference photos, motivational quotes. But buried in her timeline from 2017, I found something that made me stop scrolling. A single post. No photo, just words. "Starting over is hard, but staying was harder. To anyone going through it, you're not alone." And the hashtags? Domestic violence, financial abuse, survivor. Financial abuse. There it was. Confirmation that I wasn't crazy, that my suspicions weren't paranoia, that Derek had done this before. I spent 2 hours drafting the email, writing and rewriting, finding the right tone, the right words, something that would make her trust me without scaring her away. "Dear Jasmine, my name is Nicole. You don't know me, but we have something in common. Someone in common. I'm married to Derek Carter. I recently discovered he was married to you from 2014 to 2017. He never told me. I've also discovered some financial irregularities that I believe may be part of a larger pattern. I'm not looking to cause trouble. I'm looking for truth. If you're willing to talk, I would be grateful. If not, I understand completely. Nicole." I read it one more time, then hit send. The weight was excruciating. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped. Every email notification made me hold my breath. 4 hours later, the response came. I've been waiting for this email for 7 years. When can we talk? 7 years. She'd been waiting 7 years for someone to finally catch him. I wasn't the first, and if I didn't stop him, I wouldn't be the last. That night, I lay in bed next to Derek, listening to him snore, watching the shadows move across the ceiling. 7 years ago, he was destroying Jasmine Ford, taking her money, breaking her trust. Then he moved on, found me, started the cycle again. How many women had there been? How many lives had he ruined? And how had I, a forensic accountant who spent her career catching fraudsters, missed the biggest fraud of all, the one sleeping right next to me? I didn't have answers yet, but I would. Jasmine Ford was going to help me find them. And together, we were going to make sure Derek Carter never did this to anyone, ever again. Jasmine Ford's face filled my laptop screen. We'd agreed to a video call. Somehow, seeing each other felt important, like we needed to look into each other's eyes to know this was real. She looked tired, older than her LinkedIn photo, but there was something else in her eyes. Relief, maybe, or validation. Before I say anything, she started, I need to know, are you recording this? Only if you're okay with it. I'm okay with it. I want everything documented. I've been waiting for someone to finally catch him. I hit record. The timestamp would become important later. Tell me everything, I said, and she did. I met Derek in 2013, Atlanta, a leadership conference for young professionals. He was charming, attentive, made me feel like the only woman in the room, like everything I said was the most interesting thing he'd ever heard. I nodded. I knew that Derek. That's the Derek I fell in love with, too. 6 months later, we were married. I know, too fast. Everyone told me. My mother, my friends. Everyone said, slow down, what's the rush? You barely know him. But I was 31, successful, ready to settle down, and he seemed perfect. When did things change? Jasmine's face darkened, the memory still painful after all these years. About a year in, little things at first, he needed to borrow money for a business opportunity. Just a few thousand. He'd pay it back when the deal closed. Then more money. Then more. The deals never seemed to close, but there was always a new one right around the corner. She took a breath, steadying herself. He suggested we combine our accounts. For convenience, he said. We're married. What's mine is yours. He started managing our finances because I was too busy with work to deal with it. He said he was good with money, said he'd take care of everything. I felt sick. It was my story, word for word, the same playbook. By year 2, I started noticing things. Money missing. Thousands at first, then tens of thousands. When I asked about it, he had explanations. Investment fees, business expenses. I told you about that, don't you remember? Gaslighting, I said. Exactly. When I pushed harder, he flipped it on me. You're imagining things. You spent it on clothes. Are you feeling okay? Maybe you should see someone. He made me think I was losing my mind. Her voice cracked. Even now, years later, the memory still hurt. For months, I thought I was going crazy, that I was misremembering, that I was the problem. I started keeping notes, trying to prove to myself that I wasn't losing it. And that's when I finally saw the pattern. What was the total damage? Jasmine closed her eyes. $180,000. Everything I had saved since I started working. My emergency fund, my retirement contributions, everything. $180,000, more than 3 times what he'd taken from me so far. Jesus. And the worst part? By the time I realized what was happening, it was too late. The money was gone, transferred to accounts I didn't have access to, sent to people I'd never heard of. People like Keisha Williams? Jasmine's eyes widened. How did you know? Because he just sent her $50,000 of my money. The silence stretched between us. 2 women, same con man, same playbook, years apart. The account in Keisha's name, Jasmine said slowly. It's not really hers, is it? No, it belongs to someone named Monique Davis. She has a criminal record, check fraud, identity theft, wire fraud. Monique. Jasmine said the name like she was tasting something bitter. He mentioned her once, said she was a business associate. I never met her. She's more than a business associate. I think she's his partner, romantic and criminal. Jasmine laughed, but there was no humor in it. Of course she is, of course. Over the next 2 weeks, Jasmine and I talked every day, sometimes for hours. We compared notes, timelines, names, methods. The pattern was crystal clear. Derek's playbook. Step 1. Target successful professional woman. Someone with money and a career. Someone too busy to watch every transaction. Step 2. Whirlwind romance. Fast marriage. Sweep her off her feet before she has time to think. Step 3. Gradually take over finances. For convenience. Because I'm good with money. Let me take care of everything. Step 4. Siphon money to Keisha, actually Monique. Slowly at first, then faster. Step 5. Gaslight the wife when she notices. Make her think she's crazy. Make her doubt herself. Step 6. Exit when the well runs dry. Move to the next city. Find the next target. Start again. It was methodical, professional, a business model for destroying women's lives. There's something else you should know, Jasmine said during one of our calls. You're not number 2. You're number 3. My stomach dropped. What? After I left Derek, I did my own digging, spent months trying to understand how I'd been so stupid. And I found out he was married before me, a woman in Detroit, Cynthia Mills, 2009 to 2012. 3 marriages, 3 victims, spanning over a decade. Did you contact her? I tried. She wouldn't talk to me. I think she was too ashamed or too scared. Or maybe she just wanted to forget. I can't blame her. There were times I wanted to forget, too. Can you send me her information? Already texting it to you. Cynthia Mills, Detroit, 2009 to 2012. If Jasmine lost $180,000, what had Cynthia lost? And what had it cost her beyond money? I sent my first email to Cynthia that night. No response. I sent another the next day. Nothing. A third email. Silence. I understood. Some wounds don't want to be reopened. Some memories are too painful to revisit. Some survivors just want to survive, not fight. But I couldn't give up. Not yet. On my 4th attempt, I wrote something different. Cynthia, I know you don't want to revisit this. I know how much it hurts. I know you've spent years trying to forget, trying to move on, trying to heal. But Derek is still doing it. He's still hurting women. He did it to you, then he did it to Jasmine Ford. Now he's doing it to me. I have evidence, real evidence, enough to finally stop him. But I need your help. You're not alone anymore. There are 3 of us now. 3 women who see him for what he is. Please, help me make sure there's never a 4th. 3 days later, my phone rang. Unknown number, Detroit area code. Is this Nicole? Yes. This is Cynthia Mills. Her voice was older than I expected, tired, worn down by years of carrying a weight no one understood. I told myself I'd never talk about this again. I spent 12 years trying to forget, 12 years trying to rebuild what he destroyed. But if you really have enough to stop him, I do. I'm a forensic accountant. I trace money for a living. I've found the accounts, the aliases, the connections. I can prove what he's been doing. Long pause. I could hear her breathing, could feel her deciding whether to trust me. What do you need from me? Your story, documentation if you have it, testimony when the time comes. He took everything from me, Nicole, everything. My savings, my credit, my self-worth. I lost my house, had to declare bankruptcy at 45 years old, started over with nothing. I'm so sorry, Cynthia. Don't be sorry. Get him. Her voice hardened. 12 years of rage crystallizing into something sharp. I've been praying for this day for 12 years. I've been waiting for someone to finally believe me, to finally stop him. Tell me what you need. I'll give you everything. 3 victims, 3 marriages, over $400,000 stolen, 12 years of predation, and at the center of it all, Derek Carter, my husband, the man I thought I knew. But he wasn't alone. There was someone else, someone whose name kept appearing in my research. Jasmine, who's Marcus Thompson? Derek's best friend. They went to college together, supposedly. Why? His name keeps coming up. They have a joint LLC, Thompson Carter Investments. On paper, it looks like a legitimate investment fund, but I can't find any actual investors, or returns, or anything real. Jasmine was quiet for a moment, thinking back. Nicole, I only met Marcus a few times. He came to dinner once, helped Derek move some furniture. But he always gave me a bad feeling, like there was something behind his eyes that didn't match his smile. What do you mean? Derek is charming, but he's not smart, not strategic. He's a salesman, a front man. Someone had to teach him this system. Someone had to set up the accounts, the aliases, the corporate structures. The pieces started clicking into place. You think Marcus is the mastermind? I think Derek is the pretty face, the one who charms the women, builds the trust, closes the deal. But Marcus is the brain, the one who makes it all work. I thought about Marcus, his nice suits, his confident handshake, the way he and Derek would whisper in the backyard for hours. Business stuff, nothing you'd want to hear about. What if Derek wasn't the mastermind? What if he was just the salesman, the bait, the face of an operation run by someone much more dangerous? I need to look into Marcus Thompson, I said. Be careful, Nicole. If he's the one running this, he's a lot more dangerous than Derek. Derek will crumble under pressure. He'll cry and apologize and try to charm his way out. But Marcus will fight, and he won't fight fair. I thanked Jasmine and hung up. Then I opened a new document. Marcus Thompson, age 45, best friend and business partner. Time to find out who was really running this operation. Marcus Thompson. On paper, he was everything Derek pretended to be. Successful real estate investor, owner of multiple properties across Atlanta and Memphis, board member of the local Chamber of Commerce, donor to political campaigns. The kind of man who gets invited to galas and shakes hands with mayors. But I've learned that paper lies, numbers don't. I used every resource I had, public records, professional databases, court filings from multiple states. I called in favors from colleagues, reached out to contacts in other forensic accounting firms, and piece by piece, the truth emerged. Marcus Thompson had been sued 6 times in 3 states, all civil cases, all settled before trial. The plaintiffs, all women. The allegations? Fraud, misrepresentation, investment losses. None of them went to criminal trial. Every settlement included a non-disclosure agreement. The women couldn't talk about it publicly. Their stories were buried, silenced, erased. But the pattern was there, hidden in court dockets and settlement records, a trail of destruction that stretched back 15 years. Then I found the shell companies, Thompson Holdings LLC, MT Investments Group, TCG Capital Partners, and the one I recognized, Thompson Carter Investments. Layer after layer after layer. Companies that existed only on paper. No employees, no offices, no actual business operations. But money flowed through them. Lots of money. I spent 3 days tracing the transactions, following the money from account to account, company to company, state to state. Money coming in from investors, flowing out to accounts in the Bahamas, never coming back. This wasn't just fraud. This was a Ponzi scheme. New investors' money paid returns to earlier investors. The returns weren't real. The investments weren't real. Nothing was real except the money disappearing into offshore accounts. And my husband was part of it. Week 6, 2 in the morning. I was sitting in my home office, 3 screens open, bank records on one, corporate filings on another, criminal databases on the third. My eyes were burning. I'd been at this for 18 hours straight. Derek thought I was working on a big case for the firm. He wasn't entirely wrong. And then I saw it. The connection, the thread that tied everything together. Money from Thompson Carter Investments flowing to an account in the Bahamas. Same account that had received transfers from Marcus's previous investment funds. Same account that received $180,000 from Jasmine. Same account that received $95,000 from Cynthia. Same account that received $50,000 from me. One account, 12 years, multiple victims, multiple cities, multiple schemes, over $2.3 million. And I could prove it. I sat back in my chair, staring at the screen, at the numbers that told a story of greed and destruction spanning more than a decade. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, not from sadness, from the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of finally seeing the complete picture. This was bigger than a cheating husband. This was a criminal enterprise, and I had the evidence to bring it down. I picked up my phone, scrolled to a number I knew by heart. Agent Brooks, it's Nicole Carter. I'm sorry to call so late, but I have something you need to see, and it can't wait until morning. Agent Terrence Brooks and I had history. 3 years ago, I helped the FBI crack a case involving a construction company laundering money for a drug cartel. Spent months tracing transactions through 17 shell companies. My testimony helped secure 4 convictions. Brooks trusted me. More importantly, he knew I didn't bring him garbage. When I said I had something, I had something. We met at a coffee shop at 7 in the morning. He looked tired, but alert. The look of a man who'd spent his career chasing financial criminals and still got excited when a big one came along. I slid a flash drive across the table. "What's on this?" he asked. Evidence of a multi-state fraud operation spanning 12 years. 3 victims that I know of, possibly more. Over $2 million in stolen funds. Wire fraud, money laundering, possible tax evasion, and a Ponzi scheme masquerading as an investment fund. Brooks picked up the drive, turned it over in his hands. "This connected to one of your firm's cases?" "No, this is personal." He looked up, met my eyes. "How personal?" "My husband is one of the perpetrators." The silence stretched between us. I watched him process it. The forensic accountant who catches corporate fraud, married to a fraudster. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. "Nicole," he said carefully, "you know I can't investigate your husband just because you're having marital problems. The FBI isn't a divorce weapon." "I know. That's why I'm giving you evidence, not asking for a favor. Look at what's on that drive. If it's not enough to open a case, I'll walk away and handle this in civil court. But I think you're going to want to see this." He studied me for a moment. Then he pulled out his laptop, plugged in the drive, started scrolling. I watched his face change, from skeptical to curious, from curious to interested, from interested to that look I'd seen before, the look of a hunter who just caught a scent. "Nicole, this is significant." "I know." "This Marcus Thompson, he has connections, political donors, Chamber of Commerce. This is going to be complicated." "I know that too." He kept scrolling, opening files, following the money trail I'd laid out. "How long have you been building this?" 6 weeks. 6 weeks? He looked up, impressed despite himself. "This would take my team months." "I told you, I'm good at my job." He closed the laptop, sat back, thinking. "I need to take this to my supervisor. If what you're showing me is accurate, this is federal. Multiple states. Wire fraud. Possible RICO. This is big." "I know. What do you need from me?" "For now, nothing. Keep acting normal. Don't tip off your husband. Let us investigate. Verify what you've found. Build the case properly." "How long?" "Weeks, maybe a month. These things take time to do right. We only get one shot. If we move too early, they lawyer up, evidence disappears, and we're left with nothing. I understand. I've been patient this long. I can wait a little longer. Brooks nodded, slid the flash drive into his pocket. One more thing, he said. If this goes where I think it's going, there will be arrests, multiple arrests, coordinated across states. I assumed as much. When we arrest your husband, where do you want to be? I'd thought about this, dreamed about it, imagined it 100 different ways. I want to be there, I said. I want to watch you take him away. I want him to know that I'm the one who caught him. Brooks nodded slowly. I think we can arrange that. We shook hands. He left with my evidence. I sat alone in the coffee shop, drinking cold coffee, feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. It wasn't over yet. There was still work to do, still a role to play, still a husband to deceive while the trap closed around him. But the end was in sight, and it was going to be spectacular. That night, I came home to find Derek in an unusually good mood. Baby, guess what? Marcus and I closed a big deal today. New investors coming in. This is going to be huge. I smiled. The same smile I'd been wearing for 6 weeks. The smile that hid everything. That's wonderful, honey. I'm so proud of you. He hugged me, kissed my forehead. Couldn't have done it without your support. You're my rock, Nicole, my everything. I held him, breathed in his cologne, the same cologne I used to love. Now it just smelled like lies. New investors, more victims, more money flowing into the machine that was about to be dismantled. Enjoy it while it lasts, Derek. Your empire is built on sand, and the tide is coming in. 8 weeks. 8 weeks of pretending everything was normal. 8 weeks of smiling at my husband across the dinner table. 8 weeks of kissing him goodnight like nothing was wrong. Do you know how hard it is to lie to someone who lies to you every day? To play a role so perfectly that the master manipulator doesn't see through it? Every morning, I woke up next to him, made small talk over coffee, listened to his plans for the day, his meetings with Marcus, his calls with investors, his lunches with clients who didn't exist. Baby, I'm thinking about expanding the business. Marcus has some investors interested. We might open an office in Miami. That's great, honey. You're really building something special. Every evening, I came home to his stories, his fabrications, his elaborate fantasy of the successful businessman. Long day, but productive. Closed another deal. We're going to need a bigger house soon at this rate. I can't wait to see what you build. Every night, I lay beside him in the dark, listening to him breathe, watching the clock, counting down the days until it would all be over. Some nights, he'd reach for me, want to be intimate, and I'd have to perform that too. Close my eyes and pretend he was still the man I thought I married, the man who never existed. Those were the hardest nights, the nights when I felt like I was betraying myself just to maintain the cover. But I kept the mask in place, played the oblivious wife perfectly, because the alternative was tipping him off, watching him run, letting him escape to destroy more lives. Every night after he fell asleep, I checked my secret email, updates from Agent Brooks. The investigation was progressing. They'd subpoenaed bank records, found more victims. The total was approaching $4 million. 11 women across 5 states. 11 women, more than I ever imagined. More lives destroyed, more families shattered, more dreams stolen. Messages from Jasmine and Cynthia. They were preparing their testimony, gathering their documentation, ready to finally tell their stories in court. Documentation for my divorce attorney, the settlement I would demand, the assets I would protect, the life I would rebuild after this was over. The case was airtight now, everything documented, everything verified, every transaction traced, every lie recorded. And Derek had no idea. He thought he was winning, thought he'd fooled me like he'd fooled all the others, thought I was too busy, too trusting, too in love to see what was right in front of my face. Let him think that, for just a little while longer. Agent Brooks called on a Thursday. I was in my car, parked in a grocery store lot. Couldn't risk Derek overhearing. We're ready to move. My heart stopped. then started again, beating faster than it had in weeks. When? Monday, 6 in the morning. We're coordinating with local offices in 3 states. Derek in Atlanta, Marcus in Memphis, Monique in Houston, all 3 at the same time. They won't have time to warn each other. Monday, 5 days away. The warrants are signed, the teams are briefed, everything is in place. I closed my eyes, breathed in the moment. 8 weeks of investigation, 8 weeks of pretending, 8 weeks of holding everything together. Almost over. Nicole, I need to ask you something. What? After the arrests, this goes public. Your name might come out. Your husband's case will be in the news. Reporters will dig. People will talk. Everyone will know you were married to a con man. I thought about this, dreamed about it, dreaded it. Are you prepared for that? Was I? Everyone would know. My colleagues at the firm, my clients, my friends, my family, everyone would know I married a fraud, that I was fooled, deceived, used. For years, I'd prided myself on being the one who catches fraud, the bloodhound, the one who always finds it. And now everyone would know that I missed the biggest fraud of all, the one sleeping next to me every night. But they'd also know something else. I caught him. I was the one who discovered it. I was the one who built the case. I was the one who brought him down. I wasn't a victim. I was an investigator, and I was about to close the biggest case of my career. I'm prepared. Good. Monday morning, 6 a.m. sharp. I'll pick you up myself. You can watch us take him away. Thank you, Terrence, for believing me, for taking this seriously. Nicole, you handed me the most comprehensive fraud case I've seen in 10 years. Believing you was the easy part. I hung up, sat in my car for a long time, watching people come and go from the grocery store. Normal people, living normal lives, not knowing that the woman in the parked car was about to blow up her entire world. 5 days, just 5 more days of pretending. I could do this. I had to do this. Sunday night, our last night together, though he didn't know it. Derek was watching football, same as every Sunday, beer in hand, feet on the coffee table, yelling at the referees like they could hear him. I sat nearby, pretending to read a book, but the words blurred on the page. All I could think about was tomorrow. 6 a.m., the knock on the door, the handcuffs, the end. Hey, baby, Derek said, not looking away from the screen. I'm going to be out of town next week, business trip with Marcus, investors in Miami. I kept my voice steady. Oh yeah? When do you leave? Tuesday morning, early flight. Might be gone a week, maybe 2. Big opportunity. Could be a game changer. There was no business trip. There were no Miami investors. This was his exit strategy. He was planning to run, take whatever money he could grab and disappear. But he'd never make it to Tuesday. Sounds important, I said. I'll miss you. I'll miss you too, baby. But this is for us, you know? Building our future. I almost laughed. Our future. The future he'd already stolen. The future he was planning to escape. I know, honey. I'm proud of you. He finally looked at me, smiled that charming smile, the one that had fooled me 7 years ago, the one that had fooled Jasmine, fooled Cynthia, fooled 11 other women. I love you, Nicole. You know that, right? Everything I do is for you. I looked into his eyes, searching for something real, something true, anything that might explain how I'd missed it for so long. There was nothing, just a mask, a performance, a character he played so well that even he might have believed it. I know exactly who you are, I said. What? I said, I love you too. He smiled, satisfied, turned back to the game. 32 hours. That's how much time he had left as a free man. Not that he knew it. That night, in bed, I lay awake while he slept, watching the ceiling, listening to the clock tick, counting down the hours. 32, 31, 30. Tomorrow, everything would change. The man beside me would be in handcuffs. The life I'd built would be exposed as a fraud. The woman I'd been for 7 years would cease to exist. But a new woman would take her place. A woman who saw through the lies. A woman who fought back. A woman who won. 29, 28, 27. I didn't sleep that night. Just watched the hours pass, watched the darkness slowly give way to dawn. And when my phone buzzed at 5:30 with a message from Agent Brooks, 2 words, I was ready. We're here. I got out of bed quietly, put on the clothes I'd laid out the night before. Professional, but comfortable. The outfit of a woman ready for battle. Took one last look at Derek, sleeping peacefully, dreaming whatever dreams con men dream. Then I walked downstairs to open the door. End of Act 2. Monday morning, 5:45 a.m. I stood at the kitchen window watching the black SUV pull into our driveway. No sirens, no flashing lights, just the quiet efficiency of justice arriving. Agent Brooks stepped out first, then 6 other agents, dark suits, serious faces, the kind of people who do this every day but never get used to it. I opened the front door before they knocked. He's upstairs, still sleeping. Brooks nodded. No small talk, no reassurances, just a brief look that said everything. This is it. Are you ready? I was ready. I'd been ready for 8 weeks. His team moved past me, silent and efficient, years of training in every step. They knew exactly where to go, exactly what to do. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, listening. Footsteps on the hardwood, the bedroom door opening, then Derek's voice, confused, groggy, pulled from whatever dream he'd been having. What the hell? Who are you? What's happening? Derek Carter, FBI. You're under arrest for wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit fraud. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. This is a mistake. I haven't done anything. Call my lawyer. Nicole! Nicole! I heard him struggling, heard the agents restraining him, heard the handcuffs click closed around his wrists. That sound, metal on metal, the sound of his freedom ending. Nicole! Where's my wife? Nicole! They brought him downstairs. 2 agents on either side, hands gripping his arms. He was wearing nothing but boxers and a white t-shirt. No designer suit, no charming smile, just a scared man in his underwear, finally facing consequences. When he saw me standing there, calm, composed, still holding my morning coffee, his face went through a transformation. Confusion first. Why wasn't I screaming? Why wasn't I demanding answers? Why wasn't I defending him? Then recognition, the pieces clicking into place, the realization dawning in his eyes. Then fury, pure, undiluted rage. You did this. I took a sip of my coffee, let the moment stretch, let him see exactly who he'd been married to. No, Derek, you did this. I just documented it. He lunged toward me, or tried to. The agents held him back easily. He wasn't strong. He'd never been strong. Just charming. And charm doesn't work on handcuffs. You bitch! You set me up. You've been planning this. How long? How long have you been doing this? I set down my coffee, walked toward him slowly, stopped about 2 feet away, close enough to see the sweat on his forehead, the fear in his eyes, the end of everything he thought he'd built. Let me tell you what's happening right now, Derek. In Houston, agents are arresting Monique Davis, your play sister, the woman you've been sending our money to for years, the woman you told me you'd known since you were 10 years old. Funny thing about that lie, she's from Memphis. You claimed she was from Chicago. Couldn't even keep your story straight. In Memphis, they're arresting Marcus Thompson, your best friend, your business partner, the mastermind behind the whole operation, the man who taught you how to destroy women's lives for profit. Derek's face went pale, white as paper, the full scope of it hitting him all at once. 3 states, 3 arrests, 12 years of fraud, over $4 million stolen, 11 victims that we know of, and it's all over. All of it. Today. You don't understand, his voice cracked, the charm completely gone now, just desperation. I was just... Marcus made me. I didn't know it was. Save it for your lawyer. Actually, no, don't. Everything you say can and will be used against you. And trust me, Derek, they have everything. Bank records, wire transfers, corporate filings, victim statements, offshore accounts. They have it all. Nicole, please. He was begging now, actually begging. Please, we can work this out. I love you. Everything I did was for us, for our future. Our future? I laughed. Couldn't help it. You were planning to run. Miami, right? Business trip with Marcus? There was no business trip. There was no Miami investor. You were going to take whatever you could grab and disappear. Leave me with nothing. Just like you left Jasmine. Just like you left Cynthia. His eyes widened. How do you know about your ex-wives, Derek? The ones you forgot to mention. The ones you bled dry before you found me. I found them, talked to them, compared notes. Did you really think you could keep doing this forever? Did you really think no one would ever catch on? His mouth opened, closed, opened again. For the first time since I'd known him, Derek Carter had nothing to say. No smooth explanation, no charming deflection, no way to talk himself out of this. Agent Brooks touched my arm gently. We need to take him now. I nodded, but I had one more thing to say. I stepped closer to Derek, close enough to smell the fear on him, close enough to see every line on his face, every flicker of panic in his eyes. Remember what you told me once? That I was too focused on work, that I needed to relax more, that I worried about money too much. You thought that was my weakness. You thought my obsession with numbers, with details, with following the money would blind me to what you were doing. I smiled, the same smile I'd given him for 8 weeks, but this time it was real. Turns out, worrying about money is exactly what a forensic accountant should do. And I'm a very good forensic accountant, Derek. The best you've ever met. They led him toward the door. He was crying now, actually crying, tears streaming down his face, the mask completely shattered. Nicole, please, I'm sorry. I'll give it all back. Please don't do this. I watched him go. Watched them put him in the back of the SUV. Watched the door close behind him. And then, finally, I cried too. Not for him. Not for the marriage. Not for the man I thought I'd loved. I cried for the woman I'd been. The woman who trusted him. The woman who shared his bed for 7 years without knowing who he really was. The woman who had to become something harder, something colder, just to survive. I stood in the doorway and watched them drive away. Watched until the SUV disappeared around the corner. Watched until there was nothing left to see. Then I went back inside, closed the door, sat down on the couch in my empty house. It was over. 8 weeks of investigation, 7 years of marriage, a lifetime of believing I was smarter than this. All of it over. I sat there for a long time, an hour, maybe more, just breathing, just existing, just letting the silence settle around me. My phone buzzed, a text from Drea. Saw the news, on my way, bringing wine. Then another from Jasmine. They got him. They really got him. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. And another from Cynthia. 12 years I've been waiting for this day. God bless you. I wasn't alone. I had never been alone. Even when I felt like I was fighting this battle by myself, there were women standing with me. Women who understood. Women who'd survived. By the time Drea arrived, I had stopped crying. The forensic accountant was back in control. There was still work to do. Divorce proceedings to initiate, assets to protect, a new life to build. But for now, in this moment, I let myself feel it. The relief, the vindication, the justice. Derek Carter was in handcuffs. His empire was destroyed. His victims would finally be heard. And I was free. By noon, it was everywhere. Every news channel, every website, every social media platform. Atlanta businessman arrested in multi-state fraud scheme. 3 arrested in investment fraud spanning 12 years. FBI cracks Ponzi scheme, multiple victims speak out. Derek's face was on every screen. Not the charming smile from his LinkedIn profile, the mugshot, orange jumpsuit, dead eyes, the face of a man whose world had just collapsed. My phone wouldn't stop ringing, reporters wanting interviews, colleagues wanting details, family members wanting explanations. I let most of them go to voicemail. I wasn't ready to talk. Not yet. The story was still unfolding. The scope was still being revealed. But there was one call I couldn't ignore. Mama called at 2 p.m. "Baby, I just saw the news. Are you okay?" Her voice, that voice that had comforted me through every heartbreak, every failure, every dark night of my life. I almost started crying again just hearing it. "I'm okay, Mama. I'm okay." "I'm so sorry. I know you loved him. I know this hurts." Did I love him? Did I ever really love him? Or did I love who I thought he was, the character he played, the mask he wore? "Mama, you warned me. Years ago, right after we got engaged, you said something was off. You said he was too smooth. I should have listened." She was quiet for a moment. I could picture her sitting in her favorite chair, looking out the window the way she always did when she was thinking. "Baby, don't do that. Don't blame yourself for his choices. He fooled a lot of people, smart people, professional people. He's been doing this for 12 years. You weren't stupid for trusting your husband. You were human." "But I should have seen it. I catch fraud for a living, Mama. I trace money through shell companies. I find discrepancies that no one else can find. How did I miss it when it was right in front of me?" "Because love is blind, baby. That's not just a saying. It's the truth. When we love someone, we don't want to see the bad. We explain it away. We make excuses. We believe what we want to believe. That's not weakness. That's just being human." I thought about all the red flags I'd ignored, the phone calls at odd hours, the vague explanations about work, the money that never quite added up. I'd seen them, all of them, and I'd chosen not to look closer. "What matters," Mama continued, "is what you did when you finally saw the truth. You didn't fall apart. You didn't let him destroy you. You fought back. You caught him. You stopped him. That's what matters, Nicole. That's who you are." I learned from watching you, Mama, watching what happened when Daddy left, watching you rebuild from nothing. You showed me that a woman can survive anything. You're stronger than I ever was, baby. I let your father destroy me for a while. Took me years to put myself back together. But you took him down in 8 weeks while still living with him, while still pretending everything was fine. That takes a kind of strength I never had. I smiled through my tears. I had a good teacher. "I love you, baby. Now get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. And the day after that. And the day after that. But you'll get through it. You'll get through all of it." "I love you too, Mama." 3 weeks after the arrest, I met Jasmine and Cynthia in person for the first time. Drea's law firm had a conference room with a big table and comfortable chairs. The kind of room where serious things happened. Divorces finalized, settlements negotiated, lives changed. Today, it was where 3 women came together, 3 ex-wives, 3 survivors, connected by a con man, united by justice. Jasmine looked different in person than she had on video calls, softer, younger somehow, like the weight of the last few weeks had been lifting slowly from her shoulders. Cynthia was older than I expected, gray streaked through her hair, lines around her eyes. But those eyes were fierce. 12 years of waiting had sharpened her into something formidable. We sat around the table, looking at each other, taking it in. "I can't believe we're finally all in the same room," Jasmine said. "After everything, after all those phone calls and emails, here we are." "Here we are," Cynthia echoed. 3 women who made the mistake of falling for the same man. "It wasn't a mistake to fall for him," I said. "He was good at what he did. Professional, practiced. He knew exactly what to say, what to do, how to make us feel. The mistake wasn't trusting him. The mistake was his, thinking he could keep doing it forever." Cynthia reached across the table and took my hand, then Jasmine's. The 3 of us, connected. "I waited 12 years for this day," Cynthia said. Her voice was thick with emotion. 12 years of wondering if anyone would ever believe me, if he'd ever face justice. There were times I thought I'd die before it happened. "You never gave up," Jasmine said. "Even when I called you and you didn't want to talk. You kept the records. You kept the evidence. You were waiting." I was praying. Every night, praying that God would send someone to finally stop him. She looked at me. And then Nicole called. "I couldn't have done it without both of you," I said. "You gave me the pieces I needed, the pattern, the history. Without you, I just had a husband who made a suspicious wire transfer. With you, I had a criminal enterprise spanning 12 years. "What do we do now?" Jasmine asked. "The arrests are made. The trial is coming. What happens to us?" I looked at Drea, who had been sitting quietly, letting us have our moment. "Now," Drea said, "you testify. You tell your stories. You make sure Derek and Marcus and Monique never do this to anyone again. And after that? After that, you live, you heal, you move on. You become more than what he did to you." Cynthia squeezed my hand. "We're not victims anymore. We're survivors. And we're going to make sure the world knows the difference." "To anyone else," Jasmine added. "Ever," I finished. The criminal trial took 8 months. 8 months of testimony, 8 months of evidence, 8 months of watching Derek's lawyers try everything to get him off. They claimed he was manipulated by Marcus, that he didn't know it was illegal, that he was a victim too, that he'd been coerced, that he wasn't smart enough to be a criminal mastermind. That last part might have actually been true. Derek wasn't the mastermind, Marcus was. But that didn't make Derek innocent. It made him a willing participant, a salesman who knew exactly what he was selling. The prosecution was relentless. Bank records, wire transfers, text messages between Derek, Marcus, and Monique, messages laughing about their victims, messages planning who to target next, messages discussing how to hide the money. One message stood out. Derek to Marcus, 3 years ago. "New wife is perfect. Good job, good income. Too busy to notice. Easy money." Easy money. That's what I was to him. Easy money. Jasmine testified, told the court about losing $180,000, about the gaslighting, about the years of therapy it took to trust herself again. Cynthia testified, told the court about losing everything, her savings, her house, her credit, her faith in people, about starting over at 45 with nothing. 4 other victims testified, women I'd never met, women Derek had destroyed before and after me, each story more painful than the last. And then I testified, told the court how I found the wire transfer, how I investigated, how I built the case, how I pretended everything was fine for 8 weeks while documenting his lies. The defense attorney tried to shake me, tried to paint me as a bitter wife, a vindictive woman, someone who manufactured evidence to destroy her husband. I smiled at him, the same smile I'd given Derek for 8 weeks. "I'm a certified fraud examiner," I said. "I've testified in over 40 cases. I've helped convict CEOs, CFOs, and criminal organizations. Would you like me to explain, in detail, exactly how I verified every piece of evidence? Because I have time. I have lots of time." He backed off. Smart man. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. 4 hours to review 12 years of fraud. 4 hours to decide the fate of 3 people who had destroyed 11 lives. Guilty on all counts. Derek got 12 years federal prison. No parole, no early release. 12 years. Marcus got 18 years. The mastermind, the architect, the man who built the system that destroyed so many lives. Monique got 8 years. The money handler, the accomplice, the woman who helped make it all possible. When the verdicts were read, I didn't cheer, didn't cry, just sat there, letting it sink in. 12 years. That's how long they've been doing this. Now that's how long Derek would spend behind bars. Poetic justice, Mama called it when I told her. I called it a good start. 6 months after sentencing, I got a letter. I almost didn't open it. The return address was Federal Correctional Institution, Atlanta. I knew who it was from before I even looked at the name. I sat with that envelope for an hour, just holding it, feeling the weight of it, wondering what words Derek could possibly have put on paper. Finally, I opened it. Nicole, I know you probably won't read this, and if you do, I know you probably won't believe anything I say. Why would you? I lied to you for 7 years. Everything I told you was a lie. But I need to say it anyway. Even if you throw this letter away, even if you never think about me again, I need to say it. I'm sorry. Not the kind of sorry that wants forgiveness. I know I don't deserve that. Not the kind of sorry that's trying to manipulate you into feeling bad for me. Those days are over. I don't have anything left to manipulate for. Just sorry, plain and simple. Sorry that I wasted your years, your trust, your love. I'm in here with a lot of time to think. 23 hours a day in a cell will do that to you. And I've been thinking about who I am, what I did, how many people I hurt. I used to tell myself stories, that I wasn't really hurting anyone, that the women I targeted could afford to lose the money, that I was just taking from people who had too much anyway, that I was smart, playing the system, doing what anyone would do if they were clever enough. I know now that those were lies, too. Lies I told myself to sleep at night, to look at myself in the mirror, to keep doing what I was doing. The truth is, I destroyed people, not just their bank accounts, their trust, their faith in themselves, their ability to love again. I took things from them that money can't measure. I think about Cynthia sometimes, 52 years old now, lost everything because of me. Had to start over with nothing. I did that. Not Marcus, not Monique, me. I think about Jasmine, so smart, so successful, spent years in therapy because I made her think she was crazy. I did that. I think about you, the way you looked at me when they led me out of our house, not angry, not sad, just cold, like you were looking at a stranger, because you were. You never knew me. No one did. I'm not writing to ask for anything, not forgiveness, not a visit, not a response. I know I don't deserve any of that. I just wanted you to know that I understand now what I did, who I was, the damage I caused, and I'm sorry for whatever that's worth. Derek. I read the letter 3 times, looking for the manipulation, the angle, the hidden agenda. I couldn't find one. Maybe there wasn't one. Maybe 12 months in a cell really had changed him, made him see himself clearly for the first time. Or maybe it was just another performance, another mask, another con, this time designed to make me feel something for him. I'd never know for sure. And it didn't matter. I put the letter in a drawer, didn't respond. Some doors need to stay closed. You're probably wondering about the title, Living Out of His Car for 6 months. Here's the story. Before Derek was sentenced, before the trial even started, he was out on bail for about 6 months, strictly monitored, ankle bracelet, had to check in with authorities every week, couldn't leave the state. But he had nowhere to go. The house? Mine. He couldn't come within 500 feet. The judge made that very clear. His mother passed away years ago. He'd barely mentioned her while we were married, probably because she would have seen through him. Marcus, in jail, awaiting trial. No help there. Monique, same. Behind bars, cutting deals, trying to reduce her sentence by cooperating. His friends, all those people who showed up to our parties, who laughed at his jokes, who told me how lucky I was to have such a wonderful husband, gone. Every single one of them. Disappeared the moment the news broke. Suddenly, no one knew Derek Carter. No one had ever been close to him. No one wanted anything to do with the man whose face was all over the news. That's the thing about charm. It only works when you have something to offer, when you're useful, when you're entertaining. The moment you become a liability, all those friends vanish like smoke. So Derek lived in his car, the Mercedes I'd helped pay for, the luxury vehicle he'd used to project success and wealth. He parked in different parking lots every night: Walmart, Home Depot, hospital overflow lots, wherever he wouldn't get kicked out. He ate at shelters when he could find them, showered at the gym using a membership that was about to expire, wore the same clothes for days because most of his wardrobe was still in my house that he couldn't come near. For 6 months. 6 months of living like a homeless man while waiting to become a prisoner. I found out through Drea. She handled the divorce. Had to serve him papers at some point. Her process server found him sleeping in the backseat of the Mercedes in a Walmart parking lot at 6 a.m. Nicole, she told me, you should have seen him. Unshaven, dirty, skinny. He looked like he'd aged 20 years. Good, I said. I thought you'd want to know. I did want to know. Thank you. People ask me sometimes, do I feel bad about that? About him living in his car, eating at shelters, losing everything? Let me think about that for a moment. He stole $50,000 from me. He stole $180,000 from Jasmine. He stole $95,000 from Cynthia. He stole over $4 million from 11 women over 12 years. He made me doubt my own sanity, made Jasmine think she was crazy, made Cynthia lose her house and declare bankruptcy. He lied to me every single day for 7 years, looked me in the eyes and told me he loved me while planning to steal everything I had and disappear. Do I feel bad that he had to sleep in his car for 6 months? No, I don't. He chose his path. Every lie, every theft, every betrayal. His choices, his consequences. The car was just the beginning. Now he has a cell for the next 12 years. Some people might call that karma. I call it justice. The divorce was simple, at least. Drea handled everything. Because of the fraud, because of the criminal conviction, I got everything. The house, both cars, my full retirement accounts, restitution from whatever assets they recovered. Derek tried to fight it at first, claimed the house was half his, claimed he was entitled to some of the savings. His lawyer made all sorts of arguments. The judge wasn't impressed. Mr. Carter, she said, you defrauded your wife out of $50,000. You hid a criminal history spanning 12 years. You concealed 2 previous marriages. You have been convicted of multiple federal crimes. You are entitled to nothing. Nothing. That's what he got. Exactly what he deserved. The settlement also included restitution payments. Any money recovered from the offshore accounts would be distributed to the victims. So far, they'd recovered about $2.1 million of the $4.3 million stolen. Not everything, but something. Jasmine would get some of her money back. Cynthia would get some of hers. The other victims would get something too. Not enough to undo what was done, but something. An acknowledgement that what happened to them mattered. I donated my portion to a nonprofit that helps domestic abuse survivors. Financial abuse is abuse. It took me a long time to understand that. I didn't need the money back. I needed it to help someone else. 1 year after the arrest, I'm sitting on the porch of my house. My house, not our house, mine. Morning coffee in hand, sun coming up over the neighborhood, birds singing in the trees, the kind of perfect morning I used to take for granted. I don't take anything for granted anymore. My phone buzzes. Group chat with Jasmine and Cynthia. The Survivors Club, we call ourselves. Started as a dark joke, became something real. Brunch Sunday? That's Jasmine. I'm in, same place as last time? That's Cynthia. See you at 11? That's me. We meet once a month now, sometimes more. 3 women who should have been enemies competing for the same man. Instead, we became sisters. Real sisters. The kind who show up at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep. The kind who remember your birthday and your trauma anniversary. The kind who understand without having to explain. We laugh about it now, most of the time. Remember when we first met, Jasmine said at our last brunch? I was so nervous. Thought you'd hate me for being with your husband, even though I was with him first. I was nervous too, Cynthia added. Thought you young women would think I was stupid, getting conned at 40 years old. Should have known better. We all should have known better, I said. and none of us should have had to. That's the whole point. Jasmine is engaged now to a man named William, a good man from what I can tell, an accountant, ironically, quiet, steady, the opposite of Derek in every way. She made him wait 2 years before she said yes, made him prove himself in 100 small ways. And then, before she accepted, she called me. "Nicole, I need you to check him out. Really check him out. Background, finances, everything. I can't go through that again." I spent a week on it. Criminal records, credit history, employment verification, social media deep dive. I even called his ex-girlfriend. She said he was the most boring man she'd ever dated. Reliable, predictable, too stable. Perfect. Exactly what Jasmine needed. He's clean, I told her. No hidden marriages, no criminal record, no suspicious accounts, no red flags at all. He's exactly who he says he is. She cried when I told her. Happy tears, the kind that come when you finally let yourself trust again. The wedding is next spring. I'm a bridesmaid, so is Cynthia. Cynthia is writing a book, How I Married a Con Man and Survived. She's been working on it for 6 months now, writing at night, on weekends, whenever the words come. I helped with the financial details, explained the schemes in plain language, made sure the numbers were right. I want people to understand, she told me, not just what happened, but how it happened. How someone can seem so perfect and be so empty inside. How you can love someone and not know them at all. It's going to help people, I said. That's all I want. If one woman reads this and recognizes the signs, if one woman trusts her gut and gets out before it's too late, then it was worth it. All of it. Her publisher thinks it's going to be a bestseller. I believe them. Cynthia's story is powerful, raw, true, the kind of truth that resonates because so many women have lived some version of it. She's donating the proceeds to financial abuse survivors, same nonprofit I gave my restitution to. We're building something now, a network, a resource, a place for women to go when they realize the man they love is not who they thought. And me? I got promoted. Partner track at the firm. The case made me famous in the industry. The woman who caught the Thompson Carter fraud. My phone hasn't stopped ringing with job offers, consulting opportunities, speaking invitations. I turned most of them down. I don't want to be famous for catching my own husband. I want to be known for my work, for the cases I solve, for the people I help. But the recognition is nice, the respect, the acknowledgement that I'm good at what I do. More important than the career, though, more important than the title and the salary and the corner office. I found myself again. For years, I defined myself by my marriage, Nicole Carter, Derek's wife, half of a couple. I measured my success by his approval, my happiness by his mood, my worth by how well I supported his dreams. I disappeared into that marriage, lost pieces of myself I didn't even know were missing, became someone I didn't recognize. Now I'm just Nicole, just me, and that's enough. I go to therapy every Tuesday, not because I'm broken, because I want to understand how I missed the signs, why I ignored my instincts, what made me vulnerable to someone like Derek. My therapist says I'm making progress, learning to trust myself again, learning to believe what I see instead of what I'm told. It's slow work. Healing always is, but I'm getting there. I see my mother every Sunday, dinner at her house, just the two of us. We talk about everything now, things we never talked about before. Her marriage to my father, how she missed the signs too, how she blamed herself for years, how she finally stopped. The shame is the worst part, she told me once. Not the money, not the betrayal, the shame. Feeling like you should have known. Like you were stupid for trusting. How did you get past it? Time, and realizing that shame belongs to the person who did wrong, not the person who was wronged. I didn't cheat, I didn't lie, I didn't steal. He did. The shame is his. I just had to stop carrying it for him. I'm learning to stop carrying Derek's shame. It's taking time, but I'm learning. People ask me if I'm dating again. The answer is no, not yet. I'm enjoying my own company for now, learning who I am outside of a relationship, figuring out what I want, what I need, what I refuse to settle for. Someday, maybe, I'll be ready to trust someone again, to let someone in, to take that risk. But not yet. Right now, I'm enough. On my own. By myself. And that's the best feeling in the world. If you're listening to this, there's probably a reason. Maybe you're suspicious about something. Maybe you've seen transactions you can't explain. Maybe your partner is hiding things. Maybe the numbers don't add up. Maybe something just feels off. I want you to know something important. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're not overthinking. Women are taught to doubt ourselves. From the time we're little girls, we're told to be nice, be understanding, give the benefit of the doubt. Don't be suspicious. Don't be jealous. Don't be that woman. We're taught that trusting is good and questioning is bad, that a good wife believes her husband, that asking too many questions means you're insecure. But here's what I learned. Trust should be earned, not assumed. Questions are not accusations. And that voice in your head telling you something is wrong? That voice is there for a reason. Listen to it. I ignored my voice for 7 years. 7 years of small red flags. 7 years of explanations that didn't quite make sense. 7 years of believing what I wanted to believe instead of what I could see. Don't make my mistake. If you think something is wrong, investigate. Quietly, carefully, the way I did. Check the accounts, all of them. Checking, savings, credit cards, investments, retirement. Know where every dollar goes. Look for patterns, unexplained withdrawals, transfers to people you don't know, accounts you didn't open, spending that doesn't match the lifestyle. Document everything. Screenshots, statements, records, dates and times and amounts. Build a file. Build a case. Not because you're paranoid, because you're smart. Because protecting yourself is not a crime. Because knowing the truth is not a betrayal. And if you find something, don't confront. Not right away. The moment you confront, they start hiding. Moving money, deleting records, coordinating stories. You lose the advantage. Instead, protect yourself. Open accounts they don't know about. Move your money. Your money. The money you earned. The money that's yours. Get a lawyer, a good one who understands financial abuse, one who will fight for you. Reach out to people you trust, friends, family, someone who will believe you, someone who will help you. Build your case, piece by piece, transaction by transaction, lie by lie, until you have everything you need. And then, when you're ready, when you have the evidence, when you have the support, when you have the plan, then you strike. Then you take back everything that's yours. That's what I did, and it worked. I'm not special. I'm not smarter than you. I just happen to have skills that made this easier. Skills I learned at my job. Skills I use to help corporations catch fraud. But you don't need to be a forensic accountant to protect yourself. You just need to pay attention. Ask questions. Trust your gut. The signs are there. They're always there. We just have to be willing to see them. My name is Nicole Carter. I'm a forensic accountant. I married a con man, and I sent him to prison. I'm not proud of being fooled, but I am proud of what I did when I found out. I'm proud that I didn't fall apart. I'm proud that I fought back. I'm proud that I won. And I'm proud of Jasmine and Cynthia and all the women who stood with me, who told their stories, who refused to be silenced by shame. We're not victims. We're survivors. There's a difference. Victims let what happened to them define who they are. Survivors take what happened to them and use it. Use it to grow. Use it to help others. Use it to make sure no one else goes through the same thing. I choose to be a survivor. Every day. I choose to turn the worst thing that ever happened to me into something meaningful. You can make that choice too. If you're in a situation like mine, know this. You're not alone. There are resources. There are people who believe you. There are ways out. And if you're not in this situation, share this story. Tell other women. Spread the word. Because the more we talk about financial abuse, the harder it becomes for men like Derek to operate in the shadows. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Let's shine it everywhere. Stay smart out there. Trust your instincts. And remember, money always leaves a trail. You just have to follow it. Derek Carter is currently serving year 2 of his 12-year sentence at Federal Correctional Institution, Atlanta. He will be eligible for release in 2035. Marcus Thompson received 18 years for his role as mastermind of the operation. He was also connected to 4 additional fraud schemes in other states. Federal prosecutors are still investigating. Monique Davis received 8 years. She is cooperating with authorities on other cases and may receive a reduced sentence for her testimony. Total amount recovered for victims, $2.1 million. Efforts to recover additional funds from offshore accounts are ongoing. Total victims identified, 11 women across 5 states. Several more potential victims have come forward since the trial. Nicole Carter made partner at her firm in 2024. She now leads a specialized unit focused on helping fraud victims recover their assets. She speaks regularly at conferences about financial abuse awareness. Jasmine Ford married William Chen in spring 2024. Nicole served as a bridesmaid. The couple is expecting their first child. Cynthia Mills' book, How I Married a Con Man and Survived, became a bestseller. She donated all proceeds to organizations supporting financial abuse survivors. She continues to advocate for stronger protections for fraud victims. The 3 women remain close friends. They call themselves the Survivors Club and meet monthly. They have helped counsel over 50 women who reached out after the trial. Patricia Carter, Nicole's mother, attended every day of the trial. She was quoted in the local newspaper saying, "I raised my daughter to be strong. I just didn't know how strong until I watched her take down the man who tried to destroy her." Agent Terrence Brooks received a commendation for his work on the case. He credited Nicole's investigation with providing the foundation for one of the largest fraud prosecutions in his career. Andrea Washington, Nicole's best friend and attorney, successfully represented multiple victims in civil suits related to the fraud. She has since started a pro bono clinic for financial abuse survivors. Nicole is not currently dating. In an interview, she said, "I'm enjoying my own company. For the first time in years, I know exactly who I am. And I like her." If you or someone you know is experiencing financial abuse, resources are available. The National Domestic Violence Hotline can be reached at 1-800-799-7233. The website, thehotline.org, offers chat support and resources. Financial abuse is abuse. Trust your instincts. You are not alone. Thank you for listening. Before I end this story, I want to share 3 lessons I learned. 3 things I wish someone had told me before I walked down that aisle. Before I said I do to a man I didn't really know. Before I wasted 7 years of my life on a lie. These lessons cost me $50,000. They cost me years of therapy. They cost me my ability to trust. But if sharing them helps even one person avoid what I went through, then maybe it was worth it. Lesson 1. Trust your instincts. I ignored my gut for 7 years. 7 years of small red flags. 7 years of moments that didn't feel right. 7 years of that little voice in my head saying, something is wrong here. My mother warned me about Derek. Something about him is too smooth, she said. I laughed it off, told her she was being overprotective. I noticed the late-night phone calls, the vague answers about work, the money that never quite added up. But I explained it away, made excuses, chose to believe what I wanted to believe. That voice in your head, the one that whispers something isn't right, that voice exists for a reason. It's not paranoia, it's not jealousy, it's not insecurity. It's your brain processing information that your heart doesn't want to accept. I'm a forensic accountant. I'm trained to spot discrepancies, to notice when numbers don't match, to see patterns that others miss. And still, I ignored my instincts when it came to my own marriage. Because love makes us blind. Because we want to believe the best about the people we love. Because admitting something is wrong means our perfect life isn't so perfect after all. But here's what I learned. Your instincts are not your enemy. They're your protector. They see what you don't want to see. They know what you don't want to know. If something feels wrong, investigate. Quietly. Carefully. You don't have to accuse anyone. You don't have to start a fight. Just look. Just check. Just make sure. Because the worst thing that happens if you're wrong is that you feel a little silly for being suspicious. But the worst thing that happens if you're right and you ignore it, you end up like me. Or like Jasmine. Or like Cynthia. Losing everything because you didn't trust the one person you should have trusted most. Yourself. Lesson 2. Financial independence is not optional. I thought I was smart about money. I checked our accounts every month. I knew where every dollar went. I had a good job, a good salary, a good retirement plan. But here's what I didn't do. I didn't keep money that was only mine. Everything was joint. Joint checking, joint savings, joint investments. Because that's what married couples do, right? What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. That philosophy almost destroyed me. When I discovered Derek's betrayal, I was lucky. I had a good income. I could protect myself. I could hire lawyers. I could survive. But what if I hadn't? What if I'd been a stay-at-home mom? What if I'd given up my career to support his? What if all our money was truly controlled by him? I would have had nothing. No way to fight, no way to leave, no way to survive. Jasmine lost $180,000 because she let Derek manage their finances. Cynthia lost her house, her savings, her credit score. They had to start over with nothing because they didn't have anything that was just theirs. I'm not saying don't trust your partner. I'm not saying keep secrets or hide money. But I am saying this. Have an account that is yours alone. Money that you control. Money that no one else can touch. Not for emergencies with your partner, for emergencies from your partner. Know where all the money is. Every account, every investment, every debt. Don't let anyone else handle your finances completely. Stay informed, stay aware, stay involved. Have your own credit history, your own financial identity. Don't let your entire financial existence depend on someone else. This isn't about distrust. This is about survival. Because the sad truth is, you never really know someone, not completely. And if things go wrong, you need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. Financial independence isn't just about money. It's about power. The power to leave, the power to fight, the power to start over. Don't ever give that power away, not to anyone, not even to someone you love. Lesson 3. You are not defined by what happened to you. For months after Derek's arrest, I was ashamed. Ashamed that I'd been fooled. Ashamed that I, a forensic accountant who catches fraud for a living, had married a fraud. I thought everyone was laughing at me, whispering behind my back. Did you hear about Nicole? Can you believe she didn't see it? Some expert she is. I wanted to hide, to disappear, to pretend none of it ever happened. But here's what I learned. Shame belongs to the person who did wrong, not the person who was wronged. I didn't lie, I didn't steal, I didn't cheat. Derek did. The shame is his, and I had to stop carrying it for him. Being victimized doesn't make you a victim, not unless you let it. Not unless you let what happened to you become who you are. I was fooled by a professional con man, a man who had been doing this for 12 years, a man who had fooled 11 other women before me, smart women, successful women, women who had every reason to know better. That doesn't make me stupid. It makes him good at what he did. It makes him a predator who knew exactly how to find and exploit vulnerable targets. I am not defined by marrying Derek Carter. I am defined by what I did when I found out the truth. I investigated. I documented. I built a case. I took him down. That's who I am. Not a victim, a survivor, a fighter, a woman who refused to let a con man destroy her life. You are more than the worst thing that ever happened to you. You are more than your mistakes. You are more than the people who hurt you. What defines you is not what happens to you. It's what you do next. It's how you respond. It's whether you let it break you or whether you let it make you stronger. I chose stronger. Every single day, I choose stronger. And so can you. Those are my 3 lessons. Trust your instincts, protect your financial independence, and never let anyone else define who you are. I learned them the hard way, through pain and betrayal and loss, through sleepless nights and tear-stained pillows and moments when I didn't know if I could keep going. But I did keep going, and I'm still here, stronger than before, wiser than before, more myself than I've ever been. If you're going through something similar, know this: it gets better. It doesn't feel like it now. It feels like the pain will never end, like you'll never trust again, like you'll never be whole again. But you will. I promise you will. Just take it one day at a time, one step at a time, one breath at a time. And remember, you're not alone. There are women like me, like Jasmine, like Cynthia, all over the world. Women who understand, women who survived, women who are waiting to help you survive too. Reach out, ask for help, tell your story. You'd be amazed how many people are ready to catch you when you fall. I was caught by Drea, by my mother, by Jasmine and Cynthia, by a whole community of survivors I didn't even know existed until I needed them. They're out there for you too. You just have to be brave enough to reach out. And you are brave enough. I know you are, because you're still here, still fighting, still listening to this story. That's bravery. That's strength. That's everything you need to survive. Now go. Take these lessons. Use them. Protect yourself. Trust yourself. Define yourself. And if you ever need someone who understands, find me. Find us. The Survivors Club is always accepting new members. We've got you. I promise. We've got you.